All right, hello, AP Human Geography students. This is a quick video I made to walk you through the practice FRQ for topic 4.9/4.10 for Unit 4. And so what we're looking at here in this FRQ, we're looking at a two stimuli question because you have two maps. You got a map of Spain here and a map of Nigeria. So before you even look over the question and what the question's asking, I would take a couple minutes and just look at the map itself. So, pause the video if you haven't done this already and just take a look and try and pull something from the maps. What is the map showing you? And then think about how could the map relate to geopolitical topics that we've discussed in class. So pause the video, take a look at the maps, brainstorm a little bit, get the wheels turning. This is important in FRQs when you got a stimulus. Think about how you're going to use this stimulus. So if you pause the video, okay, let's start with Spain. Okay, so what this is showing the map of Spain. It looks like it's showing areas of Spain that are considered central, that abide by Spanish laws, and then areas of Spain that are shaded in black or with dots or diagonal lines like Catalonia, Basque and the dotted lines, Galicia in black. Those are areas, according to the key, got to be able to read a key, that have devolution. So then your next question should be, all right, what is devolution? So devolution is this idea of a central government, in this case Spain, Madrid, capital being Madrid, the Spanish government allowing autonomy, freedom, local independence, self-sufficiency to these areas that are shaded in diagonal, dotted lines, or in black. Okay, so now we're thinking, all right, so now this is probably going to talk about devolution and the relationship between these areas and the central government. Nigeria. Capital is Abuja. Nigeria is a country in Central Africa, one of the more rapidly growing countries in both population and development in the world. A lot of natural resources, including oil, petrochemicals, minerals, diamonds, other resources, and a booming population. Those are good factors for future success for the country of Nigeria, if you weren't aware. And again, devolution. So Nigeria, you're probably thinking now, all right, I don't know as much about Nigeria as I do Spain, but in looking at this, Nigeria probably has different ethnicities, different groups of people who don't really follow the rules set by the Nigerian central government. So now I'm thinking, all right, maybe these are areas in dotted lines, diagonal, or in black that have their own level of autonomy. So let's get into the question itself. Always starts with a caption. Here's the caption right here. The number of states in the world has grown to approximately 200. The creation of new countries has been a result of devolutionary forces. Countries such as Spain and Nigeria face devolutionary pressures. So right there, without even going into the questions, you should know, all right, we're going to be talking about Spain and Nigeria and the relationship to devolution. And right off the bat, look at this. You got question A, devolution. So you just have to define 1-2 sentences what devolution is. And I already did that for you earlier in the video. If you didn't catch it, go on back first couple minutes of the video and check out my definition. And you should have it in your notes. We've talked about this at pretty good length in class. Part B. Now, part B is broken into 3 parts. You have to describe. So it's important here right off the bat. Underline your verbs, define, describe, and then we got identify and explain for C. So part B, we're going to describe how each of these right here, 1, 2, and 3 contributes to devolution. Okay, so you could talk about with culture, it's cultural diversity. And what it means, you got to know what cultural diversity is. Instead of having a homogeneous, uniform culture, you have many different cultures living in an area that speak different languages, practice different religions, different customs, different habits, different beliefs. How could that relate to devolution? Well, take a look just at the map. You can use the map if you'd like. You can use either Spain or Nigeria and talk about how cultural diversity leads to people wanting to be independent, free of a central government that may not align with their culture, with their beliefs, their religion, their language. Okay, so that's B1. I would do 2 to 3 sentences, 4 tops for each of these. Okay, so B is a big one because it's 3 points. And you gotta describe each in, I would say, 2 to 4 sentences. Regional economic differences. So what that means is if you looked at this map, There may be better paying jobs in the central government. If you think of a country, United States is not immune to this. The United States has pockets of the country that have been exposed to higher unemployment rates, higher rates of poverty, higher crime and drug use. So how can that contribute to devolution? Well, the people there may be unsatisfied with how the government's helping them, what the government's doing to assist them. So those people may want to break away because they're not happy with their jobs, with their low pay, with poverty, with crime or drugs, and want to break away and form their own country. At the same time, the central government may want to keep those areas because maybe those areas, you could go another way with this. This is another direction. Say, for example, the Basque country. Say it has a high amount of resources and minerals that the Spanish government uses for trade, for gross domestic product, for tax revenue. If the Basque people were to break away and form their own government, their own country, what economic effect would this have on Spain? And you could talk about how Spain would lose all of that revenue from taxes, from workers' pay, from trade. So you go a couple different ways with this for B2. 3, we talked about this in class, physical geography and size. So you could talk about how with the Pyrenees Mountains are this mountain range that stretch along Catalonia, along the coast here in Basque country, how the Pyrenees Mountains often lead to the seclusion. And it doesn't have to be the Pyrenees Mountains themselves, how mountains, valleys, just secluded physical areas can lead to a group of people being away, secluded, removed from the rest of the country. And as a result of that, they form their own culture. They practice their own habits and customs. Okay. Let me see if I'm missing any here. It could also lead to these physical barriers. So the central language, the central religion, trade, growth of the country doesn't usually get to these secluded areas because the people are so far removed. So innovations in technology, globalization, social media, it never really reaches these people. So you could talk how that relates to devolution. These people aren't exposed to central ideas, new methods of technology, social media, jobs, education. You don't have to list it all, but just pick one of them and relate it to physical geography. Part C. This is a 2-point question because you get 1 for identifying it and then explaining it. So you got to pick Spain or Nigeria and explain how a political impact from devolutionary pressures relates to cultural differences in Spain or Nigeria. So you got to figure out what the question's asking you. What the question's asking you is, as a result of cultural differences in either of these countries and devolutionary pressures, what's an impact? Like when devolution occurs here, what does it lead to? So what you could talk about here is as a result of devolution in Spain or Nigeria, you could talk about secessionist movements. You could talk about terrorism. You could talk about autonomy, the government allowing more. It has to relate to the government here, right? It's got to be political. So we mentioned secession, terrorism, autonomy. Those are all political topics, right? You can talk about terrorism, and then as a result of terrorism, you have the Spanish Nigerian country government allowing Basque people, Catalonian people, people in Nigeria to practice their own customs, their own habits, their own language, their own religion, more autonomy. That's what I would circle back to. Allowing people to have their own cultural identity, allowing them full separation in some places. Those would all be things that I would pick one of them and use that as your main reason. Again, you just got to follow the chain of events here. Okay, what does devolution lead to? Well, as people want to secede, they want more independence. The government has 2 choices, right? They could keep them and give them more autonomy, or they could let them go and let them form their own country. So if the government keeps them, what are they going to do? They're going to give them more autonomy and more rights. And I would talk about that. So I hope this helps for the video. If you have any questions, hit me up. And now what I would do is I would go back through this and do a self-assessment. Part 1 or Part A was worth 1 point. Part B was worth 3 points, 1 point each for 1, 2, and 3. And then C was worth 2 points. So go back through, self-assess. How'd you do? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And hopefully you got a little bit better in terms of FRQ writing. All right. Have a good day.